Greetings. I haven't done a YouTube live that I recall anytime recently, so this is a bit of a new situation, and I've got my friend here who is very new to experiencing women putting on makeup. So since we're going to be on an outing and I was getting ready, I was like, why not let this be a time he gets to learn? So foundation and powder is already on, and we're going to move forth with blush next. Now, I normally don't do my makeup here, so I had to, bring everything in little containers. I might have forgotten things. We'll see how it goes. So I've got this Body Shop blush, all-in-one cheek color, and their little brush that is face brush. Now, it's got these different types of bristles. These are more dense down here. These are more sparse, but it kind of gives, you could stipple with it. That's what I sometimes do. Because I used to just do this with blush, and sometimes I might, but by stippling, it's kind of pushing it into the skin and not moving around the makeup that's underneath it. That's one thing I learned from my makeup teacher. Sometimes when he was using cream blush, he would stipple it in because he said that basically mimics the actual skin, how you have like those veins in your skin. What's funny is, I guess I don't even need the mirror. I can do it by feel and by looking in the camera kind of thing. Now, we're going to be outside, so we may or may not have masks on for part of the day. Now, I'm not seeing much pink yet, so I'm going to add some more. I'm seeing it a little bit in the camera and only a little bit in the mirror. And the thing is, with this, as long as I do it in small little layers, as long as I don't put too much on it once, I can always brush some of it off with a bigger, fluffier brush later. Now, I don't always do bronzer, but I'm going to today. I'd gotten, things during a special sale. So this is Body Shop bronzer with their domed powder brush. So just gonna sweep it on the bronzer. There's a tiny fleck of pink. I don't know if that is visible. And I also don't know if the fan of my computer is audible. But anyway, one thing that we can do. Some people, it seems like so many people contour these days. But even before the days of everyday beauty contouring, people sometimes did this to kind of chisel out their cheekbone a little bit. I can barely notice the difference. But it's kind of tough when you've got such light skin. You can't really go too dark, or you're going to look like you've got zebra stripes. And then, previously they used to say, do it where the sun would kiss your skin. But now it's kind of the opposite. They're saying do it kind of where your face recedes a bit and where there'd be kind of like a shadow. And then you can do the jawline to give that some definition. Again, I'm barely noticing a difference with this bronzer, but there have been times where I thought I didn't notice it, and then I saw it later. So it could just be the lighting. Even though this has pretty bright lighting, it can change based on sunlight type of lighting. I guess I could try putting it here a bit, there a bit, everywhere a bit. I also could just do this and do it like they previously suggested. Again, I'm barely seeing any difference. I see a little bit of dead skin, but I'm just not really seeing this. Maybe I'm just setting my makeup more. Then if I wanted, I could do this to kind of blend things together, if you will. It's very soothing. I've seen some makeup artists talk about how they do makeup and they just it calms them down and it helps reduce their anxiety, and it's just soothing. When I've done makeup, people often say that. Same thing when I've done face and body art. They're like, oh, it's like a massage. Like, I'm not doing anything deep tissue, but it is soothing. It's kind of like a spa treatment. And I probably mentioned there's a hospital where they do this like gentle touch protocol where, they would have people from the elbow down just kind of gently touching people's arms. Same thing from the knee down. And not only did it help reduce pain, but it also reduced anxiety. So they didn't, a lot of times have to administer medication just by doing something so simple, by having volunteers do this. It's almost too good to be true, you'd think. All right, let's try eyebrows next. I did eyebrows for theater and ballroom. but I'm still not used to doing them for every day. So I'm going to brush them up first with the spoolie. And I definitely have foundation underneath here because I just put foundation everywhere. And today I actually used the Clarisonic. So that might have had me collecting a bit more foundation under there, which I don't know. Could be good, could be less ideal. We'll see. So I've got, if I want to go a little bit more bold, I'll do this Maybelline Tattoo Studio. I have not seen many videos using this. Now, I don't know how long it takes for these things to get kind of dry. I feel like it's a little bit on the dry side, even though it's fairly new and I've only used it a few times. So I found, what did I find recently? Oh, I think it was, I started on the tail to begin with, and that was interesting. Sometimes, a lot of people seem to do one eye first, then the other, but I think I'm going to try going back and forth, like, to get them looking even. So by the time I get to the tail, there really is no top or bottom. It's just very little space left. Now, I find this color very dark at the moment. It looks much darker than my hair. So it's kind of shocking to me. That's what the spoolie's for. So then, try to remember what I did last time that I liked. I think I did the half. I don't know if I did the top first or the bottom first, but I'm going to try to create the edge. It does seem to go a little bit above my hairline, but no one should be getting close, especially in the pandemic times. And then, well, I guess I better do the other side. It certainly is nice to have this magnifying mirror for this. Well, thankfully the camera doesn't look too noticeable at this point, but that's the thing. I'm just much more a stage makeup kind of person. I listened recently to a makeup artist talking about how he's all about for videos, and I guess even different kinds. Like when he did music videos, that was a totally different kind of makeup than when he did movies. I can't tell how to get in the camera the best way. So I find it, by having done the end first, this way I can do more of just like a straight line, which I find helpful. And then I'm going to just kind of fill those in more lightly. Now that makeup artist I mentioned, he is like not a fan of the ombre. And he basically said, like, you never see that walking down the street or at the store or the checkout line. It's pretty much only an Instagram thing. So kind of not that useful. So little strokes, like I pressed it down a bit, but now I'm doing little strokes. I'm actually a little bit nervous about this because I feel like the line on top is a little bit too high up and kind of goes beyond where my hair is. But we'll see what we can do with it. It's also weird to, like, let's say be doing short strokes totally horizontally because the hair doesn't grow that way or even lay down that way when you move it. Well, I'll tell you this much. In real life, this looks bizarro. So let's see what we can do with spoolie. Spoolie is there to soften. I remember, I don't know who I was talking to, but, you know, spoolies have always been around, but people didn't call them spoolies, and they were just kind of the comb you used for, it was like, it's basically a mascara wand. And so you might comb through your mascara to get clumps out, and then they have that little comb on the other side most of the time as well. So by using the spoolie, I think I'm actually going to go down a bit from the top, because that's at least going to soften up that line big time and make it feel like not such a, oh my goodness. But now I'm getting the foundation coming through a bit, and I haven't fully softened the bottom line. But the other thing is I don't want to be taking too much foundation off of my face. All right, that's a little bit better. We're getting there. But again, nobody should be that close to me today, so shouldn't be able to be close enough to judge. And if they're judging, that's their problem. You know, in this case, it almost feels like when I comb the hairs up, then that tail matches where the hair lies down. But if the hair is not combed up, then the tail kind of feels like it's above. Like if I end up combing it down like that, then it feels like the tail is separate from where it goes. So comb it back up, and then it's in place. It kind of just reminds me of that phrase about like walking a thin line, or you're on thin ice. Walking a narrow line. I don't know the phrase. All right. Well, that still is much darker than I'm used to for every day. So it feels kind of weird to me, but we're going to go with it. Plus, if we do our masks, the eyes are the ones saying things. Okay. So this is the Unbelievable L'Oreal. This is much lighter. Sometimes I think this does well on its own. Now, I think the directions talk about putting it on and then using a little brush to, but that might work for much darker hair, but this is so light on me that it just kind of tints my skin underneath. And it does help to hold things in place. So I don't end up even using the little brush. Once I've used that, I kind of just put it on, comb things up, and put it in place. Well, there we go. I think it looks a little better when they're primarily facing up, and then you just, the ones that are sticking above the line, you just kind of put in their place, as opposed to making the whole thing go more horizontal. So I just like to drag it along the tops to kind of put them back down. Now, again, I'm just not used to eyebrows being this dark. Not fully comfortable with it. I think I'm going to actually put my lipstick on now, even though I often do that last. But I still got foundation on my lips from putting foundation on. So I'm going to get some of that off with this paper towel, because it took me years to figure this out. It really was learning more about the long wear lipsticks and how it's better if your lips are cleared off before you put those on. Now, had I thought this out, I might have gotten some witch hazel. I've got setting spray in front of me. I don't know if I want to use that. Let's try it. I've also got rubbing alcohol, which I could do, but that's a little harsh for the lips. I'll have to get that later. So now I've got liquid setting spray on here. Theoretically, setting spray could make a nice base. I exfoliated my lips in the shower. There's seemingly always more to do on that front. Funny thing is, I've got pretty, bright lips, like pink, I guess, reddish. So I could just do gloss if I wanted, but I like the makeup that's going to stay all day. So then I want to kind of put my foundation back in place that I just messed up. But I like it kind of being a little bit faded. I want like a crisp line of foundation around. So that'll work. I often do this bright color. I'm going to do this one on top because this one is quite sheer. This is the kind of lipstick that you only do one layer of. Some of the ones I use, you do two. So let's see, can we see? We don't want that glop there. I like to start in the middle. Try to even things out. But then this side has more on it. So then, use the tip to kind of line things. Now the bottom's looking a little bit bigger than the top. Less than perfect. But we're on Earth, so we don't get to be perfect. Sometimes it's just this side tip is a little bit higher than this side. That peak can be pretty important. That's decent. I mean, sometimes I could fiddle with it longer, but I've checked with some people and they're like, oh, I don't notice. Even when I feel like it's much more drastically different. So now, doing a second layer lighter. Get some kind of shimmer sheen. That one you don't have to be as precise with because it's almost like a topper type situation. The first one was more matte. Okay. Now I'm already starting to see some creasing of powder around here. So if I had my other brush, well, yeah, I think this brush is already used for eyeshadow, so I'm not going to do that. But I would go around here and under here to get that cleaned up. Oh, I've got a viewer. I wonder who. Please. I love it when people say hello and announce who they are and whatnot. So let's see. Now let's move on to eyeshadow. I thought about trying something new, but sometimes it's good to just go with what you know. Now, this is a palette that's fairly new to me, the Body Shop one, but I haven't, I've more played with it, done swatching, and not as much wearing it outside. So we'll see how this goes. People love that gold color. It's pretty good. And then there's the glittery white color that's nice, but kind of comes off fairly quickly. Oh, also, the reason I did the lipstick is so that it has time to dry so that I can then put the top coat on. So I think I want to go for something more neutral today. I'm often not into neutrals, but today I think I'm going to. So let's start with this fairly light color that kind of looks just like skin color, but when it's on, it ends up being a bit darker, especially since my skin is so light. It is not my kind of foundation color. It is darker. So using a blending brush that I actually think to talk to them about this because there's issue with it. People these days call this the transition color that kind of goes in the crease and helps one area transition to the next. I just tap this in here and it picks up enough. I don't need to kind of be digging it. I can always add more. But sometimes I get a little bit of creasing here as you blend, so you just keep blending until it goes away. If I want to, I can already put a little bit underneath, but this is kind of a big brush to be doing that, so it does feel nice and soft, but it can be better to get a smaller brush for that type of thing. So I'm going to take this smaller brush, and this color is pretty dark, so that's going to be a little bit dramatic. So actually, I think I'm going to try this gray. I haven't done much with it. It looks pretty light, but I think it's going to come out darker, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to start at the outer corner, kind of get a V going, even though I'm doing it in a circle. And then I'm going to match the other one. Now, other times I've put stuff underneath my eye, I've ended up having with watery eyes, and then it can mess up the makeup here. I guess we'll see how today goes. I'm debating on using this much, much darker gray shimmery, but I'm trying to think of... I have seen some looks where they put the dark over the entire eyelid and it looks nice, but a lot of times it looks nice to just put the dark out here and then put lighter as you go in. What to do? You know what? Let's go for it. Actually, though, if I'm going to do a darker, I'd rather have a brighter color. I'm not sure what I'm going to wear today, but I think I'm going to go for this berry color. That's very dark and kind of shimmery. I'm going to start out on the outside and see how it goes. I think I'm just going to sweep it over the entire eyelid. I guess that would be a little bit more of a smoky look, but this one I'm doing less tapping and more swiping. I could tap, but it just feels somehow like it needs to be swiped. I just find the shimmer doesn't really show up that much. Now, I know a lot of people will spray their brush with setting spray at this point, and I do have some mixing powder I keep meaning to put into one of those dispensing liquid brushes. I'm also noticing I need to sweep away. There's already fallout. I want to see if it's any different when I tap the eyeshadow brush first. Top. I'm going to move this a little bit into the crease since it's on the darker side. Getting hair out of the way. I think I'm going to go back in with some of that gray. Actually, no, now I'm going to try the darker gray. Kind of on the very outer edges. And definitely getting a bunch of bits falling out there. So, time to tap, tap. Just kind of putting it on the outer V. How's this going? Again, it looks shimmery in the pan, but it's really not that shimmery. Then I'm going to go over things with the blending brush. And I'm going to go back into that original color to get things to kind of move around. I've been out, I haven't done eyeshadows consistently for a long time because I just felt it was not so necessary for every day. So this is decent. It's like a little on the boring side in my opinion. It's not very colorful. So what kind of brush do I want to use to... I think I'm going to use this tiny paintbrush to do kind of like an under the eye thing. I think I'm going to try that shimmery dark gray, see how it goes. I've already got a lot of creasing of the concealer underneath, so I'm not sure how this is going to go. I don't know if it's going to... Sometimes when the eyes water, it's hard to know if they're being irritated or that's just what the way they are. And then I think I want some more for the top eyeliner. This is where it could be good to try a setting spray or a mixing liquid. Because there's part of me that thinks, do I maybe not want to do a regular eyeliner? So I'm going to put a little setting spray on my hand, get my brush wet, and try to do just a corner of the eyeshadow so I'm not messing it up for the future. It's very charcoaly gray, so not dark, not very pigmented, which could be good because then you can kind of build a little bit at a time. Of course, my hand is not the ideal palette, so I've got to go back in with some more to get it pre-moistened. Yeah, it's definitely changing the top of the eyeshadow palette. You can see where I put the setting spray. So yeah, I think I'm just going to use this as my eyeliner, perhaps. Although I kind of want to show my friend what options there are. So maybe we'll go with both. We'll see. At least this will be the part I do the wing, kind of winging it out a bit. Very soft because, again, it's very light, like charcoal color. Not in your face, which works out well for a light-haired, light-skinned person. And again, got to clean up this under eye part. Could use more powder there. Definitely going to have to go back in here with a smaller brush. So we're getting close to the end of the eyes, I think. Where's my paper towel? I'm going to take off whatever's on there. And I'm going to go in with this like super light matte color. Swiping this time to try to load it up. And then go up to the brow bone and blend that in. The thing is, even though they describe eye makeup differently these days, it's the same concepts that it's always been. Medium, then darken the crease, medium on the eyelid, highlight on the brow bone, and then often in the center. I guess they call it a halo eye now when they do it all complicated, fancy. Then a lot of people like to put the sparkly bit in here, usually with their finger. That was the thing. I wanted to try, I think I'm going to use this brush from the Body Shop, small brush, to put something on the eyelid. I think I'm either going to go with this kind of light, shimmery skin tone color or the gold. I think I'm going to try skin tone color first, then the gold. But I want to try setting spray for this because I think it would be better. If I thought plan this, I might have gotten like a little dish or something, but I could, you know what, I'm gonna use, oh no, it'll get that wet. Alright, I'm just gonna keep using my hand. It is pretty neat to be using so many body shop products in one day. Alright, so now this color on the lid. That's actually quite nice. More shimmery now. Doesn't lighten things up all that much, but you know, it's a soft hint of shimmer. But it seems nice as it's going on. While I've got the brush on a lighter color and with setting spray, I think I'm going to take that super light champagne-y color and go into that inner corner like everybody loves to do. I mean, I'm sure all I have to do is touch my eyes and it's going to go away. But for at least a small while, it'll look cute. And I could even go under here and brighten this up a bit. Actually, that looks kind of nice out here, I think. I haven't seen other people do that, but who says I have to do what other people do? And I'm noticing using the setting spray on the actual eyeshadows, it is seeming to compress them a bit. So we'll see in the future how that ends up. It looks like I've got a lot on there, and yet it doesn't really seem that much. I'm gonna put a smidgen up by the brow bone, although it's getting in my brows. But you know, I like shimmer kind of all over the lid anyway. So why confine it to just one area? I feel like I used to have more space, but maybe it's just, I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like it's weird to have this one stripe of shimmer, so I feel like that's going to have to be blended down somehow. Okay, let's add some more setting spray and then go into that coppery color that people also love so much. And put some of that, kind of tapping it into the middle of the lid on out. I mean, some of this, it's like, wait a minute, you're doing all these steps and there's not that much difference. What's the point? Well, yeah, if you're getting ready quickly, maybe not so much point. If you're having fun with makeup and color, a little bit more of a point. Kind of tapping that on up with the winged out area. And now I feel like you can barely see some of the darker areas that I originally had. But it is, I feel like it's looking kind of festive. Like, you could see this being a holiday type of makeup. And I mean, I feel like most people aren't going to notice all these details anyway. But it can just feel nice to know. I think, let's see, kind of blending this up a bit so it doesn't look like harsh lines. Well, they're not that harsh, but you know what I mean. Not bad. So maybe I'll take that small brush again. It would be nice to have something kind of shimmery. Maybe I'll go back to that berry kind of color. Go back in a little bit to the crease and kind of blend the copper into the berry in the crease. And I know a lot of people aren't into shimmer in the crease, but again, I just find these are not coming out all that shimmery. And this look is certainly changing kind of with every layer I do. I mean, you could often stop at one of these, you know, and then that would be what it is. I mean, to me, this just kind of looks like when I look at the camera, I can see the colors more distinctly. In real life, it just kind of looks like I've not done nearly as many layers as I have. So, all right, back to the blending brush. And I think I'm going to go to that light, not the lightest, but the kind of skin tone shimmery color, and use that to kind of blend all the rest together. It's hard to tell how much is being picked up since it had the setting spray thing happen. All right, well, that's a lot more eye makeup than I've done in a while. I think we're gonna close that eyeshadow palette. Let me just see if there's anything I want to add here. I haven't used this one much, and it seems like it's meant to be, it could be done on its own, but I think we're gonna leave that alone. And I think I'll just try this eyeliner and hope it won't bother my eyes. I might just go not winging it, but just closer to the eye. Although, I don't know. My eyes don't seem to be watering right now. I'm worried that if I put this on, they will. And since we're going to be a little bit farther than home, I'd rather not. But I'm debating. Yeah, maybe it'd be a good experiment to not do it and see what happens. And just... Although it could look cute. All right, I'm going to do it. But I'm going to try not to wing it. I'm going to try not to get it... It's the corner that sometimes bugs me. So again, glad for... This is that wheel one that's so unusual. Glad for the magnification mirror. This definitely took a while to get used to. Like, I could do it the first time, but it just was such a weird feeling. And you're like rolling this like pizza cutter along your eye. And if you roll too hard, it will feel sharp and unpleasant. So I gotta make sure this goes up. I guess I just do wing things a bit. But going up, I must make like 2 little eyelashes there. A lot of people had difficulty winging this, but I'm not trying to do a huge wing. I'm just doing a little. Although you start little and then before you know it, it's gotten bigger. Yeah, it is a little hard to get it to a point, but that works. Now, on to the eyelash curling, which can look really funny to some people. I'm trying this new setup. The other ones you press to get them to close. This one, if I understand correctly, it's already closed and you press to open it. Wait. Oh, it's got this thing on it. It's this one is e.l.f. Pro eyelash curler. Really good prices e.l.f. has, and especially when they have a sale. All right, so if I push it together and then I try to take this thing off, there we go. All right, now it pops open. So I basically, oh, this has a ton of dust on it. I gotta take a picture of this. Like, this is fresh out of the box. What the heck? You probably can't see it, but it's got dust all over the pad. That just seems weird and unnecessary. So, taking a picture. Well, this time I think I will use the rubbing alcohol with paper towel, because who knows what the deal is there. It probably isn't a bad idea in general. I mean, it certainly is good to wipe your makeup brushes. Now, the one thing I'm seeing is this pad already has a big crease in it. I don't know if you can see. Typically, I've seen those being very smooth, so I don't know what that's about. I also don't know how I ended up turning mostly off my makeup mirror. Still got a viewer. That's pretty cool. Wonder who it is. Now, this also seems a little uneven, like it's kind of crooked. That might still be okay, but this side, it's like tilted like this. I would have thought it would be much more even. So I don't know if that's going to affect things, but I mean, I get that it was affordable, but if it's going to be called Pro, I would think it would not be so uneven. That is really strange. I don't know what to make of that. Okay, so here we go. We put it near the eyelash line. We press and hold. I feel like I'm smelling rubber. I don't want to tilt this while I'm using it. And then leave this on a few seconds, unhook it, Oh my gosh, it's sticking to my eyelashes. Oh, I don't care for that. Anyway, move it out a bit and do it again. First impressions, not totally in love. Oh, this rubber. It smells like what I would think of as rubber that's like disintegrating. Like it's very kind of strong, and even the pad smells kind of like it. I've smelled this before. It's not like a tire smell. Like it's not quite like a burning rubber smell, but it's kind of a smell that's a little bit sour, a little bit smelling kind of like machinery, and definitely not awesome. I wonder if this viewer now is the same one as before and is just like stuck with it through this getting ready process. If so, thank you. All right, that is curled enough. I'm not gonna obsess. So now I've enjoyed using this mascara. I got a bunch when they were on sale. I hope they still make it. It's really the wand that I love. It's unusual. It's got a comb on one side that's kind of angled. So a lot of people just grab their eyelashes and go through, but I've always been taught you place it at the base and you wiggle them out. And that coats them. I've known some people to go from the top down, but to me that takes out the curl. Whereas doing this, wiggling it up, enhances the curl that you just put in. Okay, I'm still disturbed by that smell and by the stickiness of the pad that I just washed. And that was new, but dusty. I think I might still have some foundation on my eyelashes. And with this wiggling, going over it a couple different times helps to get it so that it covers the entire lash and each lash, and it can help comb out clumps while you're doing this. And sometimes it can be good, like you just let it in place and then you blink slowly and let your own blinking coat it. Now I just hope, yeah, so far I haven't transferred anything over here, but I want to make sure. I just find the way I do things, enough mascara gets on the bottom lashes that I don't need to do it separately most of the time. I feel like these are coming out different than the right side. I can't quite tell why. It almost seems like the right lashes are longer and more, but that makes no sense. Also, you never do this and then pump, 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 pump. All that does is put air into the tube. You put it in once and you can swirl it around to get more. I think I may have gotten some mascara on my skin up here, but it's really close to the eyeliner, so I think it's okay. We're pretty close to done. I forgot to do setting spray before mascara. In the past, when I've done other kinds of sprays like rose water, it makes the mascara end up going onto my skin, but I have seen people just go ahead and do it. So I'm debating on trying it. It'd be nice to let this dry a little bit, but let me try covering the eyes first. I already sprayed, I think, the foundation. So that's mostly sprayed. And then I'm just going to try it. Wish me luck. Just 2 little sprays. I'm going to try to not open my eyes all the way, to not have mascara transferring. So far, no problem. I think that's about it. I will put the top coat on the, I think this is Maybelline Super Stay 24-hour color. I have found this to be one of the best long wear lipsticks. You know, Outlast used to be the main one years ago. And of the drugstore brands, this lasts really well. Sometimes I would even say it competes with some of the really expensive ones. And I don't know why my light is getting warm. More so at the actual power button than where the lights are. They're LED. Why are they right? So I think that's pretty close to done. Now that the eyeshadow's in place, it kind of helps the eyebrows feel less bold and have had time to just sit with it. So I think this is not, the best makeup I've ever done. Not my favorite, but even with all those layers and all those colors and all that extra, it's still fairly neutral. Like they're all kind of earthy colors that are fun on skin. And I feel like it's certainly fine for every day. So we're gonna go enjoy some flowers and yummy food. Hope you have a great day. Lots of love and peace be with you.